Shabbat Shalom. If everyone would take a seat, please. Go ahead and please take a seat. We're about to get started. You know, Jewish Standard Time is definitely a thing, but services we actually start on time here, believe it or not, provided the stream is working, which I understand it is. So, hello, Shabbat Shalom to those who are watching on YouTube, especially those who are here live. A few announcements for those who are here live. Even though I just referenced YouTube, there's a camera staring at us, please make sure your own cell phones, cameras are turned off and put away, as we don't allow them at all here on Shabbat. It's counterintuitive, but please make sure those are turned off and put away. Should there be an emergency exits right here with that open door, off both wings of the upper bima, the door you came in, and down back to center and down the stairs. The third thing is, please do participate as best you can. The whole service is available in transliterations if you want to sing along, even if you've never heard Hebrew, which almost the entire service is in Hebrew. Go for it. Try to sing along. And don't be intimidated by the fine voices of the Gutkin family, right? Sing along anyway. I know their voices are beautiful. It doesn't matter if you consider your own voice beautiful or not. Feel free to sing along. So we're going to begin with a brief, what we call warm-up, the Birchat HaShachar morning blessings and Psukei de Zimra. And we're going to begin that on page 73. Please rise. Baruch atah Eloheinu asher natan l'sefirah l'krim ben yom u'ben layla. Baruch atah Eloheinu shesani b'tzalmo. Baruch atah Eloheinu shesani Yisrael. Baruch atah Eloheinu shesani ben Chorim. Baruch atah Eloheinu b'kech Ivrim. Baruch atah Eloheinu b'shramim. Baruch atah Eloheinu b'atir sirim. Baruch atah Eloheinu zokef kefufim. Baruch atah Eloheinu b'karat alamayim. Baruch atah Eloheinu she'asa li kol tzarki. Baruch atah Eloheinu b'mechin tzarek gaver. Baruch atah Eloheinu b'zershel b'gvura. Baruch atah Eloheinu b'zershel b'tifara. Baruch atah Eloheinu anoten le'ayef koach. And we may be seated. We turn now to page 134 for Psalm 150. Hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 el bikodsho, hallelujah, hallelujah, birki ahuzo, hallelujah, 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 take a shofar, hallelujah, hallelujah, benevel vechinor, hallelujah, 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 betohu macho, hallelujah, hallelujah, beminim ve'ugav, hallelujah, 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 betziltzalei shama, hallelujah, hallelujah, betziltzalei truah, kol Hallelujah. Kol haneshama Hallelujah. Kol haneshama Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Kol haneshama Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Page 143. Nishmat kol chai tivarech et shimcha. At the top of page 147. Amelecha Yoshev al Kisei Ram Benisa. At this point, we're going to call up our Bar Mitzvah Levi Gutkin, who's going to be leading us in these next portions of the service called Shacharit, which means morning or dawn. And the themes are creation, revelation, redemption, and then there's a centerpiece, which is the Shema. Listen to Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Actually, that part will actually be led by Sylvia. But please feel free to join Levi, page 149.
To front taking out on high, the sharin about tequila, the Yisharim Tikala, Udi breaks at the Kim Tikara, the Mishima Sidim Tikromam, Uv Kerikirashim Tikadash, Makalav, Revelot, Amcha Beit Yisrael. Yishtabashim Halead Mokeinu. Baruch atah Melech Gadol v'tishbacha Elcha Adon Adon Nivot Baboher B'shrei Zimra Melech Chachecha Olamim.
Chatzi Kaddish, page 151.
Yigadol v'yigada Shemei Rabban Ve'amari B'chir Tevem L'machutei L'chayichan Gamechon U'va'enich L'beit Yisrael Galar Zman Kariv Yimru Amen Yishrei Shemorah Ve'alamo Ve'amaya Yiparach Ve'yishabad V'ar B'naran B'nasei V'tadar V'talei V'talosh Medekisha V'rechu Le'ulam Yikol B'chata V'shirata Tushmechata V'nachem Ata Damira Me'olav Yibru Amen.
Please rise for the Baruchu, the formal calls to prayer, page 152. May be seated. We continue silently. 153.
In Kirkecha ve'in zulatecha, Efes piltecha, umi domela. In Kirkecha ve'in zulatecha, Efes piltecha,
Top of 159.
Shabbat Shimcha Le'ad Malkeinu. בכל הפרקים אפיכם בקדושה ובתחורה, בשירי ובזימה, ומברכים ושליחים ובערים, ומעריצים ומקדישים וממליכים.
את שם המלך הגדול והנורא קדוש הוא.
להקדיש לצרף נחת רוח, לשפה ברורה, בנבימה קדושה, כולם כחנונים ביראה. קדוש קדוש קדוש, אדוני צבאות, מלוך הארץ, כבודו. לך אופנים וחיות, חקדש ברעשתו, מנסים לעומת שרפים, לעומתם משפיכים ואומרים,
ברוך
אדוני במקומו. Ne'omot.
162.
Or Hadad shall Zion Ta'ir, or Hadad shall Zion Ta'ir, Esnei Kulanu Me'era Le'orot, Me'era Le'orot, Baruch Adonai, Yotzei HaMe'orot. Baratanu, Adonai Eloheinu, Helach et Olav et Terah, Amlachem Aleinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Ba'avur Avoteinu, Shebachu Becha, Shebachu Becha, Avinu Malkeinu. Vatlamtenu kehayim, kenteponenu vlamtenu, avinu ha'avam rachaman, arachem achem aleinu. V'ten lebeinu lechavinu askil lishmoa, v'le'anod u'le'amen, lishmoa.
Page 165, which Sylvia will lead us in the Shema.
Shema
Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך
ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה, אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך,
ושמעת לבניך
ודיברת בם,
ושבתך בביתך
ולכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם מאוד על ידיך, והיו תוספות
עיניך וכתבתם
על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
Yasher Koach. We continue on our own. Pages 167 through 169. Be at the bottom of page 169. Actually, the top first. וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני, ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם, אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים אלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתיכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אמת, אדוני אלוהיכם, amen. We're on page 170.
קיים וישנו קיים, ויוסנו כל מלכותו, ונאמני ליד קומה יד, ודבר חיים כן וקיימים. Shatu Adonai Lino Abotinu, Malkela Abotinu, Golino El Abotinu, Yotrinu Tori Shortinu, Matzlinu, Melech Shemecha, and Amenu Zelatecha, Ezra Abotinu, Atahu Meolam.
Top of page 173.
Lala El Elyon Baruch Unburah, Moshe Yunesa El Lecha Unshirah, Shekara Abba, Vimruhulam.
Mi Chamo Chava Eli Madonai, Mi Chamo Chanedar Bakodesh, Norat Hilo, Sefelet, Norat Hilo, Sefelet, Shirah Hadasha, Shipu Gehulim, Leshim Ha'as Vakeyam, Ya'ad Lahodu Be'lehu Be'amru, Adonai Lo Le'olam Ha'ed. Suri Yisrael, Kuma Be'ezrat Yisrael, U'tehu Me'ha Yehuda Be'Yisrael, V'aleinu Adonai Sheza'ol Shemo, V'edalosh Yisrael, Baruch Atah Adonai Gal Yisrael.
We begin the Amidah out loud together on page 175.
Adonai Sefer Ufia Kitefilatelcha Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak
Elohei Yaakov,
Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor HaNorah El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim Bekonei HaKol V'zocher Chasdei Avot U'mehiko El Lifneihem L'man Shemo Be'ahava Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Makim Baruch Atah Adonai Magen Avraham U'Fokei Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechayei Beitim Atorah Le'Moshiach Mashim HaRuach U'Morim HaGashem Mechalkel Chaim B'Chesed Mechayei Beitim B'Rachamim Rabim Somech Noflim V'Rofei Olim U'Matir Asurim U'Mekayem Emunato B'Shenei Afar B'Chamo Chabal Gevurot U'Midom Elah Melech Meimit U'Mekayem U'Masmiach Yeshua V'Ne'eman Atah L'Chachayot Beitim Baruch atah Adonai, Megan Abraham,
Chaye Hameiti.
Nekadesh Shemshikha Ba'olam, Kedesh Shemshimati Shimo, Tobish Me'maro, Rakatu Ba'ya Nebiecha, Vekaras Ze'el Amar, Kadosh, 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 Adonai Ze'baot, Velo Haaretz Kevodo, Azmekol Ramashkado, Adir Chachazak Mashliim Kol, Minasim Leumat Serafim, Leumat Baruch Yomeru, Baruch Kevod Adonai Bimkolo, Bimkom Chamalkeinu, Tovia Betim Lochaleinu, Kimech Hakim, Anachnu Lach, Mataitim Lo Betzion, Bekaro Be'Leon Ba'et Shishkon, Titgadol V'Titgadash, V'Tov Yerushalayim Bircha, L'Dor V'Dor, U'Lenetzach Netzachim, V'Eineinu Tirena, Malchutecha, Kadavar, Amor, V'Shirei Uzecha, Oyedei David Mishash Zinecha, Yimlot Adonai Le'olam, Elohai Yiktion, L'Dor V'Dor, Alleluia. L'Dor V'Adonai Ki Yikon Lecha, U'Netzach Netzachim Kedushav Na'akdish, Yeshivcha Eloheinu Mipinu Lo Yamush Le'olam Ba'ed, Yamel Gadol V'Tikadosh Atah, Baruch atah Adonai Cha'el HaKadosh.
We continue on our own now, pages 181 through 192, whichever language you're most comfortable. Also a good time for private meditation and prayer. And when you're done with those pages, you can sit down.
Say shalom b'ruma u'ya say shalom aleinu ve'ako Yisrael ve'imru amen. Say shalom b'ruma u'ya say shalom aleinu ve'ako Yisrael ve'imru
All right, so Levi, go ahead and step to this corner over here. I'm going to take off the talit that you led Shacharit with, and we're about to begin the Torah service. Actually, no, we first have to do Kaddish Shalem, so scratch that. Go ahead and do Kaddish Shalem first on page 193. I got so excited for that, round, we'll say Shalom round. So then you'll move over there. All right, beautifully led Shacharit. Now go ahead and hang out over there, and we're going to invite your parents, Jeff and Lean, who are going to say a few words to you and present you with a talit that you will wear during the rest of the service.
Before I begin, I want to mention the miraculous and tenacious Jewish journey that has brought our family here today. I talked about it at Noah's Bat Mitzvah 3 years ago, and the same applies now. It is no... We're having a bathroom break.
Got it. No problem. No problem. All right, so.
Should we wait on the speeches or come back?
No, we're going to do them now, probably before the. So just at least wait a couple minutes. In the meantime, we it gives you more of a chance to talk about the Torah portion. Right? So, and also, actually, I'll explain what's going to happen first when we start the Torah service. Levi will be walking around the room with the Torah, and it's pretty heavy, so don't dwell. You can take your talit corner or your prayer book, touch it to the Torah, and kiss it if you'd like. The idea that the words that are in the Torah come out of our mouths as well. Try not to shake their hands or my hand. Maybe I'll go like this if you really want, but the hygiene, we've learned a lot more about hygiene in the last few years, so especially touching or kissing, then you're shaking hands. So try to keep those in. And the Torah portion that we're going to be reading today, called Vayeshev, Genesis chapter 37. I'll say more about it a little bit later, and Levi will say even more about it a little bit later. It's the story of Joseph, which most of you probably know extremely well. You know it from the musical. You know it from a TV movie. Whether you're thinking Donny Osmond or somebody else, but it's also just, it's an incredible story, right? And it takes up 4 different Torah portions, which is unusual, right? That usually one character gets 1 or 2 Torah portions at the most. In this case, it's all 4. And you're only going to get today the very beginning of it, but that's probably the part you know the best, where there's sibling rivalry, where there's Joseph lording the coat over his brothers. Is it even a coat, right? Is it even many colored? It can be translated as striped tunic. It could be a robe. It could be a dress. It could be, it could have all kinds of colors. It could just be ornamented, which means either that it's like really exciting and ornate and fancy, or it could have bells all over. Nobody really knows. My wife pointed out to me that there is a rainbow of colors, though, on the wall today through the shine of the windows and everything else. So anyway, that's a little bit about it in advance. I'll say more if I have to stall more, but that we're trained for. Anyway, in a moment also, we're going to, just so they're ready, I want to make sure that all the leaders, or all the honorees are ready. When you come up for an honor, you need to have a talit and a head covering, unless you're one of the English readers, which is later, and then you only need a head covering. So make sure that they're in the back corner, also back at the center doors, so make sure that you have those ready to go. That includes ark opening, it includes, the Aliyot, Torah reading, anything else like that. So make sure that those are ready to go. And let's see, what else can oh yes, I actually do mean to do this, not just stalling. Same announcement I made at the beginning, where there were an inordinate number of people. Normally people know to come late. It's great that you all got here on time this morning, but members know that that's funny, and it's not meant as a joke. It's just what it is. But in any case, should there be an emergency, we have emergency exits all over the place, out this open door to my right, off both wings of the bima, out the center doors and down and out the left. Second thing is, that now that Levi is making his way back along with Dad, and they're going to say things to him, you'll be tempted to take out your phones and take pictures. Please don't, even though this whole thing is being streamed to YouTube. What we can do is, you can take screenshots later, tomorrow, whenever you feel like it, but for now, what we would like you to do is keep those turned off and put away, because it's Shabbat. Despite the fact that we have a camera, we want people out of town and our elderly, those who can't make it to synagogue, to be able to watch. But for the rest of us, please make sure those are turned off and put away. So why don't you stay seated while they talk to you and give you some, give you some beautiful words.
I'll start again. Before I begin, I want to mention the miraculous and tenacious Jewish journey that has brought our family here today. I talked about it at Noah's Bat Mitzvah 3 years ago, and the same applies now. It is no small miracle that you, Levi, are standing here today, reciting prayers that our people have said for thousands of years, despite relentless efforts to stop us, affirming your connection to Judaism. I'm so proud and grateful that you've taken these steps. And now, on to you, Levi. Every morning for the past year, after your siblings get on their way, you and I head off to Walnut Creek for the drive to your school. It's a quiet time that we share together each day. You love to DJ, and typically we just sit silently and listen to your eclectic music selections, many of which I've grown to love. Friends always ask with sympathy about this long commute we have each morning, but I cherish this quiet, contemplative time together, just you and me. It's a contrast from the other parts of our day, when your big energy and big feelings often fill our home. But I am here for all of it, Levi. The quiet and exuberant, thoughtful and volatile, silly and sad. And I love you for all this, for the sum of all of your amazing, contrasting parts. When you were 4 years old, you had a lot of excess energy to burn, and you moved through our house, as you sometimes still do, a bit like a bull in a china shop. We went to your preschool teachers with our concerns, and they were very surprised to hear this. You were so careful and reliable at school, they said, that you were the kid they most trusted to carry the tray of grape juice across the room on Shabbat. Soon after this, you asked to learn violin. I tried to steer you towards the cello, which I thought seemed sturdier and better suited to a bull in a china shop kind of 5-year-old. But you were adamant that violin was the instrument for you. At your very first lesson, your teacher remarked several times about how coordinated you were with the fragile instrument. That someone could be so wild and impulsive and also so careful and conscientious was a revelation to me. It has been fascinating to watch you over the years grow into a person with so many complex and sometimes contradictory qualities. I see it with your big feelings. Yes, they definitely get in your way sometimes, but they are also what allows you to be the caring, loving, and incredibly empathetic person that you are. I remember once before you were even old enough to speak, Noah was upset about something, and you ran to her room and came back with her favorite stuffy to help her feel better. To this day, you can always be counted on to ask people how they're doing if you know they've been sick. You are often quick with an offer to help. You are known for writing moving, heartfelt notes to friends and family, and you are a kind and compassionate friend to both people and animals. But the place where I see your unique yin-yang quality most clearly, Levi, is in your extraordinary bravery and resilience, even in the face of your very real challenges and fears. And as we celebrate you today, I want to acknowledge the incredible determination and hard work that has brought you to this moment. It's hard to tell sometimes because you make it look all so easy, but I know and I admire so much the ways in which you set your sights on a goal and don't give up until you've gotten there. It has been this way for you with violin, your circus skills, attending sleepaway camp all by yourself, making new friends, and braving public transportation to get home from school. Today, on the brink of teenagehood, I can tell you that you have a lot of hard work still ahead of you. There are lots of challenges you will need to face and obstacles to overcome. But moments like this one today, Levi, tell me that I don't need to worry about you. You are lucky to have more than enough qualities, all wrapped up together to accomplish anything you set your mind to. I'm so proud of you and love you very much.
Tough act to follow. Levi, in 2 minutes, I cannot do you justice, even when I inevitably cheat and make it 4 to 5 minutes. But I can say a few things that I love about you. I love to watch you achieve hard things. You have been growing into a spectacular violinist since you were 5 years old. And when you play, it's not just your impeccable pitch or your heartbreaking expressiveness that gets me. It's seeing the long arc of the years that you've put in. I see your grit and your patience and your passion, and I see your capacity to do great things. I love watching you with animals. I love your uncensored excitement when you're around any pet that will cuddle. You are a born caretaker, and even though I wish you would walk end zone more than you do, you are a person who will always have a lot of selfless love to give to your four-legged friends for your whole life. I love it when you and Sylvia summon me down to our basement TV room. Sometimes you call me down with giddy anticipation to show off a new modern dance number that you've choreographed, often accompanied by low-budget but very high-impact lighting effects brought to us by Sylvia flipping on and off the switches at the back of the room. Or sometimes it's a daunting obstacle course that you've constructed out of our modular sectional sofa that you have disassembled without permission or remorse. Though I have a vague fear of a cave-in of cushions and seatbacks, I love rolling up my sleeves and forging into the labyrinth. I know you build these treacherous hands and knees excursions for me and your mother using nothing more than your sweat, your ingenuity, and my beloved and expensive furniture components. And perhaps my favorite TV room time is playing adventure video games with you and Sylvia. And here comes a string of references that nobody but the three of us will understand. Maybe Annie will catch a few. Whether we're struggling to catch old pops, running away from infuriating zerks, trying not to get infected with black ichor, or destroying none other than Mog Chothra herself. There's nothing that lifts my spirits more on a Saturday or Sunday than realizing that we have a window of time to travel to some new world and solve arbitrary and silly but ultimately glorious video game puzzles together. And speaking of puzzles, I love it when you strut your ninja intellect. You're never showy about your smarts, but your mind is quietly fierce. The other day, I gave up on solving our home variation on Sudoku that uses colored blocks, and I challenged you to solve it promising a reward of $5. While I'm sure you felt a great deal of satisfaction when you swiftly collected the bounty and put the old man's supposedly mad puzzling skills to shame, there's something that you don't know. Given my own frustration and overconfidence, I almost offered you $100 to solve the puzzle. But luckily, I've learned to not underestimate you over the years. I love your fast evolving independence. There's nothing like forwarding, this is Pauline's story, which I'm using, nothing like forwarding your child a New York Times Rosh Hashanah apple cake recipe from the New York Times from bed early on a weekend morning, then coming out to the kitchen an hour later to find that an on-foot grocery store run has already been accomplished and the oven timer is ticking down. Few things on this planet make me happier than seeing you happy, but like everyone, you're not always happy. I want to tell you, my love, your big feelings are a vital and beautiful part of the layered and whole person that you are. Your emotions can make things harder, but they allow you to feel love and empathy that goes beyond what so many people can access. When you channel your outsized emotions, they are your superpower. So Levi, let me close with a quote from one of my favorite singer-songwriters, which makes me think of you. She wrote a song about how growing up can lead to doubting yourself, but here's what happens when you trust and love yourself. And no sooner than spoken, a spell had been broken, and the voices before him were trumpets and timpani, violins, basses, and woodwinds and cellos, singing, "We're so glad you finally made it here. You thought no one was watching. We were. We could tell. Now you'll dance through your days as the orchestra plays. And oh, 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 you are aging well. I love you so much."
All right, you might come up. We're going to put the talit on. Amen. Page 195, and at this time we call upon Uncle and Cousin Brett Blatter and Brian Gutkin to stand in front of the ark for when we open it. 195, Ein Kamocha. Sure.
I just quickly want to say thank you so much for everyone for being here. And thank you so much for all this love and support you've given me. And even with me struggling, as you just saw, my anxiety, it's really amazing that you guys are all here. So thank you. Ein kamocha be'elokim Adonai, ve'ein kama'asecha, malchutecha malchut kol olamim, u'memshaltecha b'chol dor va'ador. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai yimloch, le'olam va'ed, Adonai oz le'amon yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom.
Please rise as the ark is open. All right, so maybe a little less close to the stair there. Back up a step. All right, sounds good. All right, and now you're going to lead us in the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol, Adonai Kadosh Shema.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonai Kadosh Shema.
Adu Adonai iti, umiromim Hashem yachdav.
Lecha Adonai Hatiferet ve'hanetzach ve'hahod ki kol b'shamayim u'ba'aretz ki kol b'shamayim u'ba'aretz Lecha Adonai ha'malacha ve'haminaseh lecho the roads romebu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu le'adam raglav kadoshu romebu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu le'har kodsho ikadosh Adonai Eloheinu. All right, now if you take out the other book that's in front of you, our Eitzheim Chumash, the burgundy-colored book where you can follow along with the Torah reading, we're going to turn to page 226, Genesis chapter 37, which I've already described in some detail. We are breaking up the Aliyot a little differently than some of you might be expecting. Most of you, it won't make any difference. Hopefully, I will announce the right verses that go with the right readings, but we had to move some things around for complicated reasons. But in any case, I think the first one is 37 verses 1 through 3, chapter 37 in Genesis, verses 1 through 3. And it is essentially about the Ketonet Pasim, that ornamented, or multicolored, or fancy coat / cloak / robe. And we call upon cousin Meredith Millette for the first Torah reading, and cousins Jason and Sarah March for the Aliyah.
V'yazor b'gem v'shila chol chosim bo v'nomar amen. Hakol havuko delohenu kavod laTorah yamdu Tzvi Menachem ben Mendel v'Elia v'Sara bat Tzvi v'Mircha b'imkom Kohen. While Rishanaton Torah le'amo Yisrael b'Kedushato v'yashem v'chid Adonai Elohechem chayim v'chem hayom.
Amen. Vayeshev Yaakov be'eretz migurei aviv be'eretz Canaan. Eleh Yaakov, Yosef, Ben 17 שנה, היה רואה את אחיו בצאן, והוא נער. את בני בלהה, ואת בני זלפה, נשי אביו, וירא יוסף, את דיבתם רעה אל אביהם, וישראל אהב את יוסף מכל בניו, כי בן זקונים הוא לו, ויעשה לו כתומת מעשים.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan לנו את emet v'chayei olam natan v'tokenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen.
Second Aliyah, verses 4 through 7 in chapter 37, the dreams of sheaves bowing down to one sheaf, which is him, which makes the brothers hate him even more. We call upon sibling Noah Getkin for the Torah reading, and for the Aliyah, we call upon aunt and uncle Laura and Paul Gedoldig.
Yomdu Shoshana Batera the Barbara the Pinchas ben Asher v'Shoshana Sheni.
Baruch Adonai HaBarak.
Baruch Adonai HaBarak Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Sorry. Baruch Adonai HaBarak Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim. Venatan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Amen. Vayir'u echav, ki oto ahav avihem mikol echav, vayisnehu oto velo yochlu dabro l'shalom. Vayachalom Yosef halom, vayaged lechav, va'osifu otzeno oto, vayomer lehem shimuna. Halom hazeh asher alamatzi, v'hinei anachnu ma'alumim b'tzoch hasadeh, v'hinei Chama alumatzi v'gam nitzava, v'hinei hasubena alumotechem, v'tishtachavena ve'alumatzi.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet. V'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Chapter 37, verses 8 through 11. Now, the dream of heavenly bodies bowing down to him. Same as the other dream. The 11 stars, you also will find this reference in the song Echad Miyodea for Passover, if you know what I'm talking about. 11 of the stars of Joseph's dream. And we call on family friend Charlotte Raggins to read the Torah, and cousins Elijah and Gabriel Gedoldig for the Aliyah.
Yomdu Eliyahu ben Pinchas b'Shoshana v'Gabriel ben Pinchas b'Shoshana Shlishi.
Baruch Adonai HaBarak.
Baruch Adonai HaBarak Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Adonai Hambarach Leolam Ba'ed Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu Et Torato Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Amen. Vayomru lo echad v'maloch timloch aleinu imashol timshol banu vayosifu od zinoto al chalamotav ve'al devarav vayachalam od chalom acher vayasaper oto lechav vayomer hine chalamti chalom od v'hine hashemesh v'hayoreach v'achad asar kochavim mishtachavim li vayasaper el aviv ve'elechav vayigar bo aviv vayomer lo ma hachalom hazeh asher chalamta havo navo ani v'imecha ve'achicha ve'achecha lechishtachavot lecha arza v'ikanu bo echav ve'aviv shamar et hadavar.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Natan Lanu Torat Emet V'Chayei Olam Nata B'Tocheinu Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. And I talked about the Joseph musical. Just a quick reference, our last two Torah readers, Noah and Charlotte, will be in another musical together in Chicago in early March at Head Royce, both playing principal parts. So a little promotion for your upcoming musical. All right, the fourth Aliyah, verses 12 through 17. Jacob sends Joseph to look for his brothers who are pasturing at Shechem, and some man helps him find them, otherwise they're lost. Without that act, I know lots of bad things happen, but all the good things that happen at the end of Joseph's story would never have happened. So that man who is unnamed, who basically just gives somebody directions, plays this key role in the shaping of the history of this Jewish people. And so for the Torah reading, we call upon cousin Eli Blatter and aunt and uncle Judy and Brett Blatter for the Aliyah.
Yamdu Yehudit Kanavat Abraham HaKohen V'Giti Rachel V'Baruch Shalom Ben Chaim Lev V'Fegel Revi'i. There you go, fellows. Baruch Adonai Hambarach. Baruch Adonai Hambarach Le'olam Ba'ed. Baruch Adonai Hambarach Le'olam Ba'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu Es Toraso. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah. Amen.
וילכו אחיו לראות את צאן אביהם בשכם, ויאמר ישראל אל יוסף, הלא אחיך רואי בשכם, לך ואשלחך עליהם, ויאמר לו הנני, ויאמר לו, לך נראה את שלום אחיך ואת שלום הצאן והשיבני דבר, וישלחהו בעמק חברון, ויבוא שכמה, וימצאהו איש והנה טועה בשדה, וישאלהו האיש לאמור מה תבקש, ויאמר את אחי אנוכי מבקש, הגידה נא לי איפה הם רואים, ויאמר האיש נסעו מזה כי שמעתי אומרים נלכדותינה, וילך יוסף אחר אחיו וימצאם בדותן.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayek l'olam atah b'tocheinu, Baruch atah Adonai, notein haTorah. Amen.
The fifth Aliyah, chapter 37, verses 18 through 22. The brothers want to kill him, and Ruvain, the eldest, suggests, let's throw him into a pit instead. Thus he saves his life, but the commentators essentially think he could have done much more if his brothers would have listened to him. Eli will once again read the Torah, and for the Aliyah, which is reserved for a member of our congregation not connected with the bar or bat mitzvah, we call upon Helen Fixler, who, because of the storms a few weeks ago, was unable to attend when she had York site, so we're delighted to have her here with us today. It's always special to have Helen in our midst.
Ta'amad Yemima bat Aaron Chamishi. Baruch Adonai Borach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai Borach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam notah b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai notein haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. ויראו אותו מרחוק, ובטרם יקרב עליהם, ויתנכלו אותו להמיתו, ויאמרו איש אל אחיו, הנה, בעל חלומות על הזה בא, ועתה לכו ונהרגהו, ונשלחהו באחד הבורות, ואמרנו חיה רעה אכלתו, ונראה מה יהיו חלומותיו. וישמע ראובן ויצילהו מידם, ויאמר לא נקנו נפש, ויאמר עליהם ראובן, אל תשפכו דם, השלכו אותו אל הבור הזה אשר במדבר, ויד אל תשלחו בו, למען הציל אותו מידם, להשיבו אל אביו.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam natah b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai notein haTorah.
Amen.
The sixth Aliyah is 23 through 33. He's taken out of the pit, sold to the Ishmaelites, who sell him to the Midianites and back to the Ishmaelites. It's very confusing. Doesn't really matter. He's sold and eventually ends up in Egypt. For the sixth Torah reading, we call upon cousin Jordan Blatter and grandmother and cousin for the Aliyah, Fran and Raquel Blatter.
Kamdu, Fego bat Tzvi, Rachel Zahava bat Baruch Shalom, Yehudit Kana Shishi.
Baruch et Adonai Mevorach.
Baruch Adonai Mevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Mevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. ויהי כאשר בא יוסף אל אחיו, ויפשיטו את יוסף את כותמתו, את צאן הכבשים אשר עליו, ויקחו וישליכו אותו הבורה, והבורק אין בו מים, וישבו לכל לחם, ויישאו עיניהם ויראו, והנה אורך ישמעאלים בא מגלעד, וגמליהם נוסעים, נכות וצרי ועלות, הולכים להוריד מצרימה. ויאמר יהודה אל אחיו, מה בצע? כי נהרוג את אחינו וכיסינו את דמו, לכו ונמכרנו לישמעאלים, בידינו אל תהיבו, כי אחינו בשרנו הוא. וישמעו אחיו, ויעברו אנשים מדיינים סוחרים, וימשכו ויעלו את יוסף מן הבור, וימכרו את יוסף לישמעאלים ב20 כסף, ויביאו את יוסף מצרימה. וישב ראובן אל הבור, והנה אין יוסף בבור, ויקרא בגדיו, וישב אל אחיו ויאמר, היה אל עינינו ואני אנה עניבה. ויקחו את כתונת יוסף, וישחטו שעיר עזים, ויטבלו את הכתונת בדם, וישלחו את כתונת הפסים, ויביאו אל אביהם, ויאמרו זאת מצאנו, הקרנה הכתונת בנך, היא אם לא. ויקירה ויאמר כתונת בני חיה רעה אכלתו, טרוף טורף יוסף.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Thanks for taking on the extra reading there. And we're now on page 232. And the seventh Aliyah, which Levi will read, Jacob is now deceived. He believes Joseph is dead because they brought back the stolen clothing dripped in goat's blood. And for the seventh Aliyah, we call upon Mom and Dad, Helene and Jeff.
Yamdu, Tzvia bat Chaim Lev Lefegel, Tzvi ben Terev Barbara, Shadi'i.
Baruch Adonai HaBarak.
Baruch Adonai Barak Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaBarak Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
ויקרא יעקב שמלותיו, וישם שק במותניו, ויתאבל על בנו ימים רבים. ויקומו כל בניו וכל בנותיו לנחמו, וימאן לכנכן, ויאמר כי ארד על בני אבל שאולה, ויבכה באותו אביב. וחמדנים מכרו אותו אל מצרים, לפוטיפר זרי יזמרו שרת המלכים.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam notah b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
We rise for the Chatzi Kaddish.
Yikadal v'yikadash shemei Rabbi, Anim rak yirteh v'yamlich malchuteh, v'chayechonu b'yom echonu, v'chayedu kol beit Yisrael, v'aga Vipara, Vishtabach, Vitar, Viraman, Vitnase, Vita Dar, Vita Le, Vita Lal, Shemed Kudashah, Riku Le'ela, Min Kaber Chata Veshirata, Tushechata V'nefemata, Damiram Ve'olam, Vimaru, Amen.
We turn now to page 244. We may be seated, the Maftir Aliyah from the very end of the Torah portion. We've skipped a whole bunch, but basically he's now in jail interpreting dreams there, and we've got the chief cupbearer and the chief baker, and one of them is impaled in this particular passage, and the other one forgets about him and doesn't, and leaves him in prison. That will change in next week's Torah portion. And for this final Maftir Aliyah, the blessing and the reading, we call upon our bar mitzvah, Levi Gatkin, Yamod, 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 Bachar bar mitzvah, Levi ben Tzvi b'Tzviya, Maftir Chazak.
Baruch Adonai Borah.
Baruch Adonai Habarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Habarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen.
Vayehi vayom hashlishi yom le'edeh paro vayas mishta'eh l'chol abadav vayisa et rosh sa'ar hamishkim ve'et rosh sa'ar ha'ofim b'toch abadav vayashev et sa'ar hamishkim al mashkechu Vayiten hakos al kaparo, ve'et sa'ar ha'ofim talach, ka'asher patar lachem Yosef, v'lo zachar har mashkim, sar har mishkim, Yosef v'yishmechehu. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch Atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen. Yeshua. Right, a blessing for all who read. Yishbech Avatenu Avraham Yitzhak Yaakov, Sarav Karach Avaleya, Yivrech Kokrei Asher Alevayom L'Chol Makom, L'Chol HaTorah, L'Chol HaShabbat, HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yivrech Otam et Mishpachotam, V'Yishlam B'Havat Tzcha, B'Chol B'Sei Kol Shrechehem, V'Nomar Amen. And I'm going to read a list of names for those who are ill, but we're also going to call upon Helene, Jeff, Noah, Levi, and Sylvia to sing Misha Berach blessing for those who are ill. We're thinking especially today, so you just come on up while I'm reading this. Scott Lawrence, Dolly Van Razel, Barbara Rose, Ilya Oak, Karina Golavat Hada, Yehuda Tzvi, Leonid Batshena, Shabbat Dov and Shimon Moshe, Rosie German, Yechiel Ben Elisa, Shulamit Bat Leah, Rina Gatchak, Elizabeth Rob Raphael Bat Esther, Moshe Ben Ruvain, Shadol Quenta Rose, Rachel Shulamit Bat Rugi, Leroy Muzzy, Rachel Bat Esther Fruma, Mary Beth Shute Brower, Udo Rivka Bat Shmuel Bapola, Yoni Yosef Ben Shmuel, Yoshua Ben Malkatova, Ariel Chaim, Esther Hamalka Bat Solomon Moshe, Ziva Hasson, Charlotte Harris, Ovadia Ben Sarah, Levi's grandfather Harvey Blatter, who I know wishes could be here so much, we wish we could have him here. And any other names you wish to mention, please just say them out loud at this time.
Levi bumped his head on the bima.
As we sing this prayer of healing, we think of my father, Harvey Blatter, who is in the hospital recovering from a recent stroke, and all of our family and friends who are battling their own health issues today.
lines for the Hagban Galila, lifting and dressing of the Torah. We call upon cousins Jason March and Barrett Miller.
Yamad Hamavir Tamad Hagolele.
Zot HaTorah Asher Sam Moshe Mipnei Bnei Yisrael Al Pi Adonai B'Yad Moshe Eitz Chaim Hi L'Machazikim Ma'ametom Ke'Hameushar Eitz Chaim Hi L'Machazikim Ma'ametom Ke'Hameushar Derachei Behold the Timotei Shalom, behold the Timotei Shalom, Yai Lai Lai, Yai Lai 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 Lai, Yai Lai 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 Lai, Yai Lai 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 Lai. We may be seated. We turn to page 247 for the Haftarah. It comes from Amos chapter 2, and it connects to the Torah portion because of the selling of Joseph for silver. And Amos is essentially elaborating the various transgressions of Israel and Judah, the northern and southern kingdoms, which were united under King David and King Solomon, but later had split. And it's an even better haftarah than it seems. Of course, it's very critical and somewhat harsh, but the context, which you don't have, is Prophet Amos keeps criticizing like all the peoples that are surrounding them. The Ethiopians, the Babylonians, whoever is around them, and the Jewish people here think that they may be immune from that criticism, but then he points the finger back at ourselves. So it's really a powerful passage when read in context. When Levi is done chanting the Haftarah and its blessings, we're going to stand in our seats and sing Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, and Siman Tov. And once again, it is on page 247.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher balcha nibiim tovim b'ratza v'mechem hanemarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai haboher b'torah Moshe avdo Yisrael amo u'b'nei b'tzedek. Kol amar Adonai al Shilosha v'shiyei Yisrael v'om arba'a lo shivenu al mikra v'kesef tzadik e'evyon ba'avur na'alayim hashoafim al ha'eretz v'rom shalim v'derech anavim yatu Ve'ish ve'avi Yalchu echad nara Lema'an halel lechem kochi Ve'al bagidim Habulim yatu Eitzel kumitzbe'eya V'yein anusim yishtu Bein elufechem Ve'anoki Nishmatiti Echa emorim mipnechem Asher kigova Arozim gafo V'chasofu kalamim Ve'ashmi piro mima'al V'sharashav mitachat Ve'anokim Ha'leiti etchem Me'eretz Mitzrayim Hello etchem Bamidbar Arabim Shana La Reshet et Eretz Ha'emori Va'aki Mipnechem Linsvi'im Mipkurechem Linzirim Ha'af Enzor B'nei Yisrael Ne'um Adonai V'tashku et Vayala, Amleala, Amir, Ve'abad, Manos Miko, Ve'azak, Lo Yametz, Go, Vigibor, Lo Yimalei Nafsho, V'tofei, Sakeshed, Lo Yamod, V'kabar Glav, Lo Yimalei, V'rochei Chasus, Lo Yimalei Nafsho. Ve'amitz libo b'giorim Aryom Yanus v'yamchu Ne'um Adonai Shim'u ehadabar hazeh Asher diber Adonai Aleichem b'nei Yisrael Al b'mishpachat Asher Haleti me'eretz Mitzrayim le'mor Ra'ketam yirji mikol mishpachot chadama Al ken afko alechem et kochad votechem Hayelchu shanayim yachdav V'yotzi'im no'adu Hashiach aryeh v'ya'ar V'terach elo hayitin kibir kolom mi'onato V'yotzi'im lechad Hatifko tipor al ha'aretz Unkokesh ein la Hayelef ha'adama V'lachod lo yilchot Im yitaka sho'afar be'ir Ve'am lo yecheradu Im tirchei ra'a be'ir V'Adonai lo asa Ki lo yaseh Adonai Elohim debar Ki im gala asadu El habadav Chanvi'im aryeh sha'ag mi lo yirah Adonai Elohim diber mi lo yinaveh Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Tzur v'chalamim tzadik v'chadorot ha'el ha'ne'eman ha'omer v'yoseh ha'medaber v'mekayeh Shekol devarav emet v'tzedek Ne'eman atahu Adonai Eloheinu Ne'emanim devarecha v'davar echad miparecha achur le'ashurekam Ki amelech ne'eman baruch aman atah baruch atah Adonai ha'el ne'eman v'chol devarav Rachel on Zion ki hibeit hayenu L'olam guvat nefesh toshia b'mchera v'yameinu Baruch atah Adonai B'samei Zion b'manecha Samcheinu Adonai Eloheinu B'liachon avi avdecha Malchut beit David neshichecha B'mchera yavo v'yagel libeinu Ha'kisolo yeshem sar nelo Imchelo orchei rim kibodo Ki meshem kivshicha nishbat Shalom yichmenei ra le'olam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai Magen David Al ha'torah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al hanvi'im ve'ayam ha'shabbat hazeh Shenatah ta'alanu Adonai Eloheinu L'kedusha v'linucha l'chavod u'tifaret Al ha'kol Adonai Eloheinu Anachnu modim lah M'barakim otoah Yitbarach shimcha Kol chai tamid le'olam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat
And we're going to turn to page 223. Back in our Sidurim, some of the additional prayers. Beginning with a prayer for our country, and we call upon family friend Victoria Carlisle to read that, page 223. As the prayer for our country will be read in proper English, as you'll see.
Good morning. Our God and God of our ancestors, we ask you to bless our country, its government, its leaders, its citizens, and its land. We offer a prayer of gratitude for the precious gift of living in a land blessed with sublime physical beauty, individual freedom, economic abundance, and a rich, magnificent history. We offer a prayer of thanksgiving for those who came before us, those whose sacrifices created a strong and vibrant nation. We acknowledge that there are those in our country who are suffering as well. We offer a prayer of hope for those whose cups are empty, for those whose freedoms have been curtailed, and for those who have not been able to share fully in all our country's blessings. We offer a prayer of support to the leaders of our government, understanding that leading a nation with such diversity and freedom is a difficult and daunting task. We offer a prayer of action to the citizens of our nation, that we may understand our obligation to be involved in making our country a better place for all who live here. Our God and God of our ancestors, we ask you to bless our country, its government, its leaders, its citizens, and its land. And let us say, Amen.
Prayer for the State of Israel, page 224. We call upon cousin Raquel Blatter, who is visiting from Israel, where she's doing a gap year.
Avinu Shabashamayim, Tzur Yisrael v'Golalo, Barach et Medinat Yisrael, Bereshit Tzmichat Geulatinu. Hagen aleha be'avrat chasecha, ufros aleha sukat shlomecha. Ushlach orecha ve'amitecha l'rasheha, sareha ve'yoatzeha, v'taknem ve'itzat tova milfanecha, chazek et yedei meginei eretz kodshenu, ve'hanchilem Eloheinu Yeshua, ve'ateret nitzachon teatrem, ve'natata shalom ba'aretz, ve'simchat olam le'yoshveha, ve'nomar Amen.
Prayer for peace and an additional prayer of reflection on the Jewish people. We call upon grandparents Barbara and Terry Detkin.
First is a reading from Rabbi John Rashev's prayer for the Jewish New Year, lightly paraphrased. May we hold lovingly in our thoughts those who suffer from tyranny, subjugation, cruelty, and injustice, and work every day towards the alleviation of their suffering.
May we recognize our solidarity with the stranger, outcast, downtrodden, abused, and deprived, makes me cry, that no human being should be treated as other, that our common humanity weaves us together in one fabric of mutuality, one garment of destiny.
May we pursue a vision of peace, that we might live harmoniously with each other and side by side, respecting differences, cherishing diversity, with no one exploiting the weak, each living without fear of the other, each revering the goodness in every human being.
May we struggle against institutional injustice, free those from oppression and contempt, act with purity of heart and mind, despising none, defrauding none, hating none, cherishing all, honoring all people and every creature of the earth.
May the Jewish people, the state of Israel, and all peoples know peace.
Especially in Ukraine. And may we nurture kindness and love everywhere.
And the following is a quote from Albert Einstein. The pursuit of knowledge for its own sake, an almost fanatical love of justice, and the desire for personal independence. These are the features of the Jewish tradition that make me thank my stars I belong to it.
Amen. Yasher Koach. I'd like to call Sid Levy to come on up. He's going to hold the Torah as we recite the prayer for the new month, which we do today because Tevet will begin Bayom Shabbat Kodesh U'Macharat Bayom Rishon, next Saturday and Sunday, which means next Saturday we get 3 Torahs out of the service. So we need a whole bunch of, we need at least 3 people who are able to lift the Torah for Haggadah Leo. That's next Saturday, not this Saturday. Please rise. Yehi ratzon lefanecha, Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu, shetzkadesh aleinu et hachodesh haba l'tova v'livracha, v'titen lanu chayim aruchim, chayim shel shalom, chayim shel tova, chayim shel bracha, chayim shel parnasah, חיים שחילוץ עצמות, חיים שיש בהם יראת שמיים ויראת חיים שאין בהם בושה וכלימה, חיים של עוזר וכבוד, חיים שתהא בנו אהבת תורה ויראת שמיים, חיים שימלאו משאלות ליבנו לטובה, אמן סלה. מי שעשה ניסים לאבותינו וגאל אותם מעבדות לחירות, הוא יגאל אותנו בקרוב, יקבץ דרכנו מארבעת כנפות הארץ, חברים כל ישראל, ונאמר אמן. ראש חודש טבת יהיה ביום שבת קודש, ומחרת ביום הראשון, הבא עלינו ועל כל ישראל לטובה. יחדשי הקדוש ברוך הוא עלינו ועל כל עמו בית ישראל, לחיים ולשלום, לששון ולשמחה, לישועה נחמה, ונאמר אמן. You may be seated as we invite our Keep Zion class up to lead us in Ashrei, page 231.
lechol ma'asav. Ritzon Yonel Yosef, Be'ed Shabbatam Yishma V'Yoshiyim. Tehillah Adonai Elohi, V'Barak Kol Basar Shivkasho Le'ol Ba'ed. V'Anach V'Mevarech Yah, V'Taveh Adonam. Hallelujah.
Shakawah. We rise to return of the Sefer Torah to the Ark, and we call upon friends Dan Jaffe and Joan Corin to stand by the Ark in preparation for its opening. Yamalu et Shem Adonai, ki niskav Shema levato, Odo Eretz v'shamayim, v'yarem keren le'alo, lechol chasidav, libnei Yisrael am kerovo. Hallelujah, hallelujah.
Mizmor leDavid.
Avu l'Adonai v'ne'elim, Avu l'Adonai kavod va'oz, Avu l'Adonai kavod shemo, Ishtachavu l'Adonai ve'adrat kodesh.
Adonai Almighty Rabbi.
Kol Adonai ba'atoa, Kol Adonai be'adar, Kol Adonai shomer arazim, V'yishomer Adonai et marzeh almanu. Kol Adonai chotzem labodesh, Kol Adonai yachil midbar, Yachil Adonai midbar kadesh, Kol Adonai yechol el hayalot. Adonai lamahoyah, Shabayeh Shem Adonai, Melech leolam, Adonai ozel lo yifteh, Adonai yevarech v'amo v'shalom v'chol yomar. Ki lekato natzati lachem torati al tazovu, et ha'irimi, v'machzikim ma, v'tov ve'averushar, deracheh hadarcheh noam, v'chol netivoteha shalom, ashivenu Adonai, elecha benashua, Kadesh, Kadesh Yameinu, Kadesh Yameinu Gegedem. Amen. We may be seated as Levi will now interpret the Torah portion for us, giving the sermon, the drash, the Dvar Torah of the day, nice and slowly.
Most difficult challenge. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Does anyone else find it weird how many sibling rivalries there are in the Torah? Cain and Abel, Jacob and Esau, Leah and Rachel, and Joseph and his brothers. They all fought, and most likely after death, they just kept fighting. I wonder if these stories are there because the Torah wants to teach us a lesson about how to behave harmoniously together, starting with our most important relationships. Today's Torah portion is called Vayeshev and comes from Genesis chapter 37. It is the widely known story of Joseph, whose brothers sold him into slavery out of jealousy. This story has a colorful cloak, famine, prophecies, and Joseph's brothers throwing him into a pit. Such a crazy tale should be made into a Broadway musical. Oh wait, that already happened. Anyway, today my main focus is drumroll, please. Joseph and his relationship with his siblings. Now the Torah tells us that Joseph was a big old tattletale, and he told on his brothers because he didn't like the way they tended to their sheep. We don't know for sure that the brothers did anything wrong, because the Torah only states that Joseph brought bad reports of them to their father. This is all it says, but we do know that it made their father think more highly of him. In Vayeshev verse 3, it says, "Now Jacob loved Joseph best of all his sons. In fact, to prove his love for him, he made him an ornamented tunic. It was red and yellow and green and brown and blue." Maybe it wasn't entirely Joseph's fault that he was very vain. His dad encouraged it in a way. The tunic made Joseph feel special compared to his siblings. Soon after that happened, Joseph started having dreams about how powerful he would be one day. For example, he dreamed that his corn would be above all the other corn, and all the other corn would bow down to his corn. And that was not good. But okay, we can breathe. At least Joseph hasn't told his mother yet. Oh, phew. Oh well, there he goes, off to tell his brothers. Needless to say, this is not good for their relationship, and it further deepens the rift Jacob has already created between them. And we know what happens next. How many rabbinic sages have a reaction similar to mine? They think Joseph is very, very arrogant. Midrash Tanhuma talks about how later in the story, after his father thinks he's died, Joseph is so cocky and concerned with his appearance that he eats and drinks and curls his hair, even while his father is mourning his death. This upsets me because Joseph seems to have forgotten his father altogether, even though Jacob showed him so much love. After hearing all of this, you can see that what happened to Joseph might not have been entirely his brother's fault. That doesn't justify what they did, but we can begin to see that Joseph is not so innocent. So what are some of the reasons Joseph may have behaved the way he did? Sometimes there are deeper reasons that not everyone can see. As some of you may know, I recently found out that I'm on the autism spectrum. Something I struggle with is saying things I shouldn't, such as bragging to my siblings or friends. Sound like anyone we know? Autism can sometimes make it hard to read social cues. So relating this back to Joseph's stories, maybe Joseph didn't understand that bragging to his brothers was hurting their feelings. Obviously, I can't diagnose him, but I think it's important for us to look for reasons that somebody might behave unkindly and try to step into their shoes before judging them. You're probably wondering how this relates to me and my two siblings, Noah and Sylvia. We are very close, but sometimes we fight over because that's what siblings do. Sad. For example, sometimes I can feel left out when the three of us are playing pretend games, and they don't listen to my ideas. Sometimes we fight when I've had a long day and Sylvia's excited to hang out with me, but I don't feel like playing. And sometimes the three of us get competitive over who's the better musician, athlete, singer, artist, etc. In each of these scenarios, there is more than one side to the story. Here's a specific example of a fight I had with Sylvia. It all began, we were playing outside with slime. For those of you who don't know, slime is a homemade stress toy that I really enjoy making. As fun as it is to play with Sylvia, we often fight over how much we should clean up when we're done. Well, in this case, I said to my sister, or at least I thought I did, you clean up with your slimes, I clean up with my slimes. It's as simple as that. But I kept playing, and she went inside and I didn't. So, 2 hours later, after I cleaned up my slimes, but not hers, and hid it inside, I come back outside to see Sylvia's slime oozing out of its container all over our wooden table. Now, slime does not like to come off something it's been sitting on for a long time, especially wood. So I started to freak out and got really angry. In the end, we got in a big fight about who should have cleaned it up. I blamed her, she blamed me, vice versa. I felt sure it was all her fault, but I eventually realized I got way too upset over a misunderstanding. The truth is that I hadn't been clear enough about who should put away what slime, and like Joseph and his brothers, we all play a role in our fights with others. There are many things we can do to help this not happen, but here are the main ones I thought about. First of all, understand that some people have trouble knowing how to talk and act. Most of the time, people don't mean to hurt your feelings and are just standing up for what they believe in. I'm not saying that what Joseph's brothers said or did was okay, but we should think about their side of the story before being so quick to judge them. Secondly, we should be more kind and accepting of people's mistakes. Recently, I joined a performing circus troupe. As circus performers, we learned that if someone makes a mistake, we should cheer for them and encourage them to try again. This doesn't apply to being mean or acting mean, but we should understand that people do make mistakes and we should support them in learning to do better. Finally, we need to be clear about our needs and how we want to be treated. Sometimes people don't know that they're hurting our feelings because we never tell them. Perhaps if Joseph's brothers had let him know they didn't like how he was treating them, he might have put his coat away in the closet and stopped tattling on them to their father. Now, before I leave the rest of you to enjoy the rest of the service, I would like to thank a few amazing people for all they did to help me get here today. First of all, parents, you're a rock that keeps me from blowing away. I love you more than you could ever imagine. I know I'm hard to handle sometimes, but you never stop trying to help me have an amazing life. From years of violin to my newfound love of circus, you always support me in whatever I want to do. You were so supportive when I came out as transgender, and thank you so much for forcing me to practice Hebrew so I was able to get here at this point in my Jewish life. My siblings, what can I say to thank you enough? You were always there for me when I needed to be cheered up. Even when we fight, we still find a way to laugh about it later. You guys are the best siblings a guy could ask for. Noah, thanks for helping me prepare mentally and linguistically for today. And Sylvia, thanks for being my roommate of 7 years and my dance partner for life. You guys are amazing. I love you so much. To Enzo, my fun, cuddly dog, you are the best puppy I can ask for. I love you so much, and thank you to my friends and family for being here and being so supportive. I have some amazing years at Temple Beth Abraham, and that would have not been possible without all my amazing classmates and teachers. Rabbi Bloom, you make everything so fun and make me so proud to be a Jew. Thank you for everything you've done for this community. To my teacher, Jacqueline, who was so kind and really the person who boosted me, gave me pep talks when I needed them, and pushed me to work harder. I could have not made it here without you. I also want to recognize a few people who could not be here today due to health issues they are facing, particularly my grandpa Harvey. I'm thinking of you today and wish you good health. I would also like to take a moment to remember a child who died in the Holocaust and has no family left to remember him. His name was Martin Pereira, and he was 4 years old when he passed away. Martin was born in Amsterdam, the Netherlands, and in 1939 and died in 1943 in the Soviet camp in Poland. His parents were Israel and Federica. It is important to remember all the lives that were lost in the Holocaust, including lives of many of my own family members, especially when we know there is still anti-Semitism left in the world today. In conclusion, the story of Joseph and his brother teaches us to treat each other with care and compassion and try to see both sides of the story. I hope you enjoy the rest of the service and have a great rest of your day. Thank you for being here. Shabbat Shalom.
Very well done. All right, I want you to hang out there for a second, and we're going to call upon your teacher and also representing the board of directors, Jacqueline Polchik, for a few words and a few gifts.
Levi, I'm so proud of you. You put in so much work to get to what you did today, and for everyone who doesn't know, Levi actually took on a lot more than was actually required of him, so that really says a lot given all of his other extracurricular activities. I'm just really going to miss working with you. You're so much fun, and Tasha, I'm really blessed you with a beautiful voice and your whole family with musical abilities. I just love when I sing something to you and you just sing it back, and I'm like, oh, I wish I could do that. It's so beautiful. So thanks for bringing that to our congregation today and last night with all the musical skill of your family. So on behalf of the Board of Directors, Women of TBA, and the Men's Club, I have a Kiddush cup, candlesticks, a chumash, and an Israel bond. And I believe that's it. So very good job today, Ms. Althoff. Very proud of you.
Hi, I'm Georgia.
I'm Zach.
And we are here on behalf of Open BBG and Dreidel AZA to present to you this Dreidel.
We're here on behalf of Dreidel and Open BBG, and I hope that you join us as soon as possible for the Jewish youth groups here in the East Bay. We hope to see you as soon as we can.
And Mazel Tov.
Thank you so much, and these are great kids, these two, so thank you. All right, a few more words of Torah, and really about you as well. I mean, this was really, I think, for everybody here, you included, like a day and a moment of holiness, because we saw the full rainbow of colors. We saw the beauty, the melody, the brilliance, but we also saw in real time the struggle, the challenge. But what we got in the end was an even better product, if you will, right? Because we were able to see part of that struggle. That's what happens in the Torah portion as well. Now, it's mostly about the struggle, but if you were to come in at the end of the Joseph story where the brothers are reconciling and hugging and Jacob is blessing them and the final ones, Ephraim and Manasseh, start getting along, and you would see this beautiful end, but we forget sometimes how difficult it is to get there. So that's true of Joseph, and it's true of all human beings. Now, you're a middle child, same as me, okay? So I understand that struggle very well. And it can be difficult. I mean, you're all rock stars in your family, but when one is the youngest and gets that attention and you're following someone who's already set a path that's so high, that in and of itself can be a struggle. But I can tell you from personal experience, we do fine, us middle kids, really. And when you're talking about sibling rivalry, I also want to go back to last night or even the Misha Baruch today. You see this incredible, beautiful harmony that comes out with this music. But what it takes to get to that harmony, okay, there's a lot of practice, and there's a lot of tantrums, perhaps, as well, along the way. Perhaps. It's never, perhaps. I don't know for sure, but so all that is part of you, and you express that so wonderfully and so beautifully. But I want to also, for a brief moment, talk about your name, Levi, because Levi is one of the brothers in the story. And Levi shares a lot of qualities with you. Number one, Levi's a little impulsive, as we're going to learn later in the story. He speaks his mind and sometimes does so physically, which is not necessarily good, but that's you. I mean, Levi becomes one of the most powerful of the brothers through the force of his personality, right? And you have that same kind of power, right? You're never afraid to express your opinion or your mind. You're a big personality, and your parents talked about that with the big feelings and all that stuff, and that's part of Levi too. But what really happens with Levi eventually is the Levites are the ones who are the synagogue, everything actually, the synagogue performers especially, right? Let's start with that. The Levites are known for the Psalms, for leading the people in prayer. The Kohanim are a subset of the Levites, but the Levites, they're singing all those beautiful psalms, and who can do that better than this Levi, right? From the time you were little, and you were sort of in between the Glebiers, unfortunately, and the pandemic, when you would have, but even as I think a first grader can Levi do it with us? I'm like, absolutely, because you could carry it, you could solo, and you were loud, and you sounded fantastic, and so your, honestly, performance in the synagogue has been something that every one of us who's gotten to witness it has treasured, right? It's been amazing. I also want to tell you, however, that the Levites didn't just perform and sing. They were also the people who set up all the stuff, carried all the stuff, right? So it's not only about their end product either, right? It's about the strength you're developing as a circus performer, doing cartwheels in the middle of Shabbat dinner with your sister. We can see that strength coming up. And so that's part of it too. Part of being a good Jew, a good performer, a good person is doing the porterage tasks as well, carrying, lifting, setting up. It's not always the end product of the glory. Sometimes it really is the struggle. So once again, I just want to sort of conclude with saying that I think every one of us in this room feels very lucky that we know you and that we got to see you in your full color today. And I'm really excited to have you keep coming back and leading prayers and leading special songs and all those things. And we talked about that earlier today. It's what happens next week, well, except for being in Cancun next week. But going forward to your Jewish identity. So Again, what a blessing, what a treat to be here. Mazel tov to the family and to our synagogue for seeing such an incredible bar mitzvah today come to fruition. All right, let's go up for some special blessings. Please rise as we open the offering. May God bless you. May God's face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. Shalom. May God lift the divine face toward you and grant you peace. Amen. We remain standing for our Musaf service, page 239. We begin the Amidah out loud and together.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avoteinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor V'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, V'Gonei Hakol, V'Zocher Hasei Avot, U'Mevi Gorel Mipnei B'neihem, Le'man Shemo Ve'Yavava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magid Avraham U'Vokei Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, V'Chayim V'Tikvat Torah V'Hoshia, Mashik Maruach U'Morim HaGashem, Lechakel Hayim B'Hesed, Nechayim Meitim B'Rachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim V'Rofei Cholim, U'Matir Asurim, U'Mekayem Emunato, V'Yishenei Afar, Mihamot Haval Gevurot, U'Midom Elach, Melech Memid U'Mekayem, U'Matzliach Yeshua, Le'eman HaTalech HaChayot Meiti, Baruch atah Adonai, Magid Avraham Meiti, Harizecha Benakdishecha, Kesod Tziyat Sarvei Kodesh, Lamahadishin, Shimcha Kodesh, Hagatu B'Yamim Yorecha V'Karaseh, Natzei Amra, Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzvaot, Melech
Amen. We continue on our own, pages 247 to 258. Also a good time for private meditation and prayer.
Say shalom b'rama, say shalom aleinu, ve'yakol Yisrael b'imru amen. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'yakol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom aleinu ve'achol Yisrael.
Read Shalem, page 259.
Gadol v'yikra shemei Rabbah. Ve'amadi b'achim tzedi amechon plutei. V'chayin chonig amechon chay etechol beit Yisrael. V'garla uzman karev v'imeru. Amen. Ye'esh Rabbah Deborah. Le'olam olam me'omaya. Yibarach. Yibarach b'yishabah. Yibarach b'nara Bina say, Bita Dar, Bita Le, Bita Losh, Man Kudisha. Le'elami Kol V'Yotah B'Shirata, Trifechata V'Net Hemata Dami Rame Amavi Meru. Amen. Tika Val Sota Unabu, Timon Decho Yisrael, Kodam V'Bechon Ishmael V'Imeru. Amen. Say Shalom, Yishlom Rami Shemaya, L'Chayim L'Linabek Yisrael V'Imeru. Amen. Say Shalom B'Morma, Say Shalom L'Linabek Yisrael V'Koyish V'Teva V'Imeru. Amen.
Ein Eloheinu, Ein Kadoneinu, Ein Kemalkeinu, Ein Kemoshienu, Mi Eloheinu, Mi Kadoneinu, Mi Kemalkeinu, Mi Kemoshienu, Nodel Eloheinu, Nodel Emalkeinu, Nodel Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Ataru Eloheinu, Ataru Adonenu, Ataru Malkeinu, Ataru Moshienu, Ataru Shektiru, Avotenu, Lefanecha Torah. Please rise for the Aleinu, and maybe some of the secretaries want to come to the Bima lead while I pass out candy. Aleinu l'shavei ha'tzadot ha'kol, ma'atei k'dulah v'yasei reshi, shelo asanik yodei v'razon, shelo samanik k'mishot ha'adama, shelo samanik k'kahem, We may be seated. This time, we lovingly recall the memory of our departed relatives and friends whose yahrzeits we observe during the coming week. I'm going to read 3 rabbis' names on this list this week. 2 of them were prolific rabbis here at Temple Beth Abraham. Rabbi Philip Lang, who was responsible for the real growth of this congregation in the 50s, And then Rabbi Harold Schulweiss, also responsible for growth and was very well known for his just brilliance in general and his social action in particular. Thinking especially today of Esther Asher, Reuben Curtin, Nathan Dixon, Joseph Dorfman, Mac Epperson, Rebecca Epstein, Samuel Gewurtz, Herbert Allen Goodfellow, Rabbi Joel Gour, Jack Gray, Betty Gordon Grinberg, Richard Gutman, Booker Holton Sr., Calvin Klein, Leon Klein, Sophie Kranz, Rabbi Philip Lang, Rita Lamerson, Philip Mendelson, Samuel Morrow, Arthur Nightingale, Michael Rappaport, Louis Robinson, Kathy Roman, Michael Roman, Rabbi Harold Schulweiss, Israel Stamer, Samuel David Strongin, Paul Truff, Goldie Choretz, Robert Wallerstein, Sidney Winchell, Martha Silverberg, and we're in the Shloshim for Sanford Greenberg and Jeffrey Owen Wade. Memories have all been with us. We ask all those who are in mourning or observing Yortzeit, as well as anyone else who would choose to do so, to rise for the mourner's Kaddish at this time, page 267. Yid Gadal, V'yid Kadash, Shemei Rabbah. V'alman Yivrach Yerutei, V'yamlich Malchutei, V'chayechon, V'yomechon, V'chayechol Beit Yisrael, V'galav Yizman Kari, V'yibru, Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevorach, V'olam Omei Omaya, Yitbarach, V'yishtabach, V'yitba'ar, V'yitramam, V'yitnasei, V'yitadar, V'yitaleh, V'yitalal, Shmei Kudsha, V'rivu, La'ela Min Kol Birchata V'shirata, Tushbechata V'nechemata, V'amiran V'yoma V'yibru. Yehi Shlama Rama Min Shemaya, V'chaim Aleinu V'el Kol Yisrael V'yibru. Oseh Shalom V'yibramah, Uyaseh Shalom Aleinu V'el Kol Yisrael V'yibru. Amen. Zichronam Livracham, may the memory of the people you've come to say Kaddish for be a blessing to you always. Let us say, Amen. Immediately after the closing song, stay here, and the family will join me on the bima where we'll do Kiddush and Hamotzi communally, and then go downstairs, pick up your food in the social hall, bring it outside where all the tables are set up. If you wish to say an individual Motzi, there's a washing station inside the social hall as well. It's kind of it's not a regular week in terms of Beit Sefer and Gan. They're closed, but we have Minyan Monday and Thursday. We have Torah study at the Ballistic Cafe on Wednesday. Next Saturday, we have 3 Torahs, as I explained, because it's Rosh Chodesh and Hanukkah and the regular Torah portion. And the next Bar Mitzvah, and it's wrong in the bulletin if you read it, the time is wrong, but the day is correct. Monday, January 2nd at 9:30 a.m., Jonah Rosenberg becomes Bar Mitzvah. All right. It's going to be up here. 9:30 a.m. on Monday. It's a federal holiday, January 2nd. So, all right. Adon Olam, page 269. We invite various members of the Blatter Gutkin clan. We'll see who's coming up.
We don't have
269.
Just Blatter.
Adon Olam, Asher Malah, B'terem Kol, Yitzir Nivra, V'yed Nasa, B'chefsakol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, V'yacharei Kiflot HaKol, Lema Adon Yimlok Nara Adon Olam, V'hu Haya, V'hu Hoveh, V'hu Yeh B'tifara Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Asher Malah, B'terem Kol, Yitzir Nivra, Li'ek Nasa, B'chefsakol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, V'hu Echad, V'yein Sheni, V'hamshilo V'chaf Mira Adon Olam, V'li Reishit, V'li Tachlit, V'lo Ha'oz V'ha B'Yisra Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Asher Malah, B'terem Kol, Yitzir Nivra, Li'ek Nasa, B'chefsakol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam,
V'tzorchem libi yitzara adon olam, vehu nisi umanosli, v'naskasi b'yom mikra adon olam, asher malah, v'terakol, yitzir nibras, li'ek nasad, v'chefsakol, azay melech shimo mikra adon olam, Ya'ado Akid Ruchi B'yek Tishan B'ya'ira Adon Olam B'yim Ruchi Gabi Yasi Adon Ali B'lo Ira Adon Olam Adon Olam
Asher Malah
V'terakol Yitzir Nibra Li'ek Nasa V'chefsakol Azay Melech Shimo Nikra Adon Olam.
Shabbat Shalom, Yasher Koach.
All right, please rise for the Kiddush. Come on up. That is Levi, Jeff, Helene, Noah, and Sylvia, if you're out there. Come on up too. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael Shabbat Shalom and Mazel Tov.